finish for the love of stories.
Torchwood contains adult and disturbing material, which we strongly advise is not suitable for younger listeners.
Good evening, Miss McShane. Carrot?
Haven't they been left out for the reindeer?
We're Torchwood. Santa's dead already. Waste not, want not.
I'll take the mince pie.
So, here we are. Christmas. A time for ghost stories.
Oh, I'm glad you got the fire going. This place is really rather gloomy at night.
Well, it's cozy, isn't it? The fire, the rain outside. I'd prefer snow, but we can't have everything. Cocoa?
Yes, please. Thanks. So, any plans for Christmas? Other than this?
Well, if we survive tonight, Colin and I will be visiting my sister in New Zealand. His idea. Apparently, Christmas is a time for reconciliation, family, and leaving the past behind. I'd rather just stay in, order pizza, and watch the Muppets. You?
My brother's coming to stay. His husband's gone off with a vet, so there'll be lots of wine and lots of tears. Oh, unless I can distract him with the Muppets.
You can never go wrong with the Muppets.
The doctor once showed the film to Charles Dickens. He died a very happy man.
How marvellous. Well, shall we begin? I believe we decided that you would go first.
I believe we did, Mr. Colchester. I hope you're sitting comfortably.
I am.
Then let me present The Haunting of the Natural History Museum, written and performed by Ms. Dorothy McShane.
Oh, are we doing titles? How thrilling.
It was the year of our Lord. Oh, come on. I've only just started. What's so funny?
You trying to do posh. Oh, no, go on.
The year is 1880. Queen Victoria is on the throne. Oliver Twist is asking for more. Jack the Ripper. Gaslights. Smog.
I mean, most of those things are from very different years.
I'm creating atmosphere, which you are spoiling.
Sorry, I'll be quiet as I try to imagine the entire 19th century.
It's January the 1st, 1880. A small blue police box is standing in Trafalgar Square, and a small girl in a black bomber jacket covered in badges is storming off through the snow. I hadn't been travelling with the doctor long. Now, he wasn't perfect, but I was very loud, very angry, some might say occasionally impetuous.
Well, thank goodness you've changed.
We'd argued, and I needed space. I decided I'd go to the Natural History Museum. My mum took me once, on one of our good days. And I loved the dinosaurs. As I stomped through the streets, I realised I was actually really excited about going there by myself. No guides, no doctor, no teachers, no mum. Just me and the dinosaurs.
You were young, you wanted freedom, and then you get old and all you want is someone or anyone to tell you what to do.
Tell me about it. So, I get to the museum and I open the door and it's flipping empty. Rows and rows of glass cases with nothing in them.
Oh, you silly girl. Oh, young you, I mean, not you. They'd only just finished building it, hadn't they?
Yep. Now, I mean, obviously it's magnificent. It's stunning. What a building. But no dinosaurs. So I'm just standing there like a pilchard. It's a bit like being in school when everyone else has gone home. Weirdly quiet, unnaturally quiet. But I'm a weird, unnatural girl, so I love it. I lay down on the floor and I just take it all in. And also, it's nice, because everything, every moment in my life has been, noise and running and fighting and just being so angry. And suddenly it wasn't. It was really still, very quiet. And I was a very happy ace. Excuse me, child, what on earth do you think you're doing? I open my eyes and there's this ghost looking down at me. I mean, she's not a ghost, but she looks like one. She's dressed all in black. Her face is white, her hair is white, whiter than snow. She's looking down at me and she says it again. What on earth do you think you are doing? I jump up and I'm all, oh, right, yeah, sorry, I'm Ace. And I hold out my hand to shake and she looks at me as if I've got germs. And then she stops herself and she properly looks at me, at my jacket, and it's like I'm the germ and she's looking down at me through a microscope. And then she smiles, holds out her hand and says, Amelia Taunton, vanquisher of ghosts. Tea, young lady? I always hated being called young lady. Whenever we'd meet posh people, it was always young lady. But despite this, I think I actually already quite liked Amelia. She was wearing trousers.
Good Lord.
I know. So she takes me through to this small room, away from the public area. She tells me that she works for the Queen and that she's come here to see if the place is haunted before it opens. I'm like, cool, that's wicked. She's got all this equipment, all brass and glass. And I ask her if she wants a hand and she's like, oh, that would be positively charming. We start creeping around the museum, her holding this old gramophone horn and me holding everything else. She reminds me of the doctor, all small and busy, which is fine until I remember I'm angry with him. Then I forget I'm angry with him because I'm a kid and easily distracted. We're creeping around the empty museum, whispering to each other. So, what's the Queen like? Oh, she's marvellous, quite the wit. Have you caught many ghosts? A few, young lady. What about you? Why are you here? Why are you here? We pause. We stop walking. 'Cause that last whisper, that wasn't her or me. We wait. Totally still. Who was that? I don't know, young lady. Is there anyone there? I'm Ace. We're not going to hurt you. Yes, we bloody well So, thing is, I don't really get scared. Never did. I've beaten up Daleks and I've brought down MPs. But I hate haunted houses. Always have. Because, well, loads of reasons, personal reasons, but also, I think the main reason is that we can see robots and monsters and bad guys. We know what they are. We can understand them and fight them. But how can you fight? How can you protect yourself against something you can't see? Something that is just so very, very wrong. We keep creeping around the museum, looking through the empty glass cases. I ask Amelia if she knows who the ghost is. She shakes her head. Lies! The whisper is even louder. It might even be following us. Amelia's determined, leading the way, and then there's this sound. A breath. A single breath in, and then a single breath out. We stop. We turn to look at the glass case on our right. It's slowly, so slowly, starting to steam up, as if someone is breathing on it from the inside. And then there's another sound. It's a squeak. Not like a mouse. It's a very distinctive squeak. The squeak of a finger on glass. Like a child writing in the frost. Tell me you can see that, Amelia. Oh, I see it, child. We watch as the invisible finger starts to write in the condensation. A-M... Crash! Suddenly, Amelia smashes the gramophone horn into the case and the glass shatters everywhere. It was trying to say, I'm dead. We know you're dead. We know. By now, I was starting to find Amelia's behaviour just a little bit suspicious.
Only by now?
No, I was young. I'd ignore anything for a bit of adventure. This was my first ever ghost hunt. But something had been bothering me. Amelia, I asked, who was meant to be helping you? Because I'd worked out there was no way she could have carried all the equipment by herself. She stopped, and she turned to face me. She was nothing like the doctor. The smile fell. The eyes stopped twinkling. She just stared at me. Her eyes, everything about her, she was like ice. Amelia? I asked, as I always did, trying to sound braver than I felt. She looked at me and she said 4 words. You could be important. Was she going to let me live because I could be useful? I managed to turn away from those staring grey eyes, and that's when I saw she'd pulled this weird alien gun out from her suit jacket. Why? Why could I be important? I'm nobody. Oh, she said. I can see that. Yeah, I'd worked her out. Some people are important. Others, the poor, the different, we're nothing. We're worthless unless we prove our worth. She looked at the badge on my jacket and she asked me what NASA was. She walked around me, slowly, examining me. Your voice is common, and yet your skin is clean. Your garments are made of fibers I do not recognize. And these symbols you wear, are they satanic? She saw me smirk. No, they are from the future. You, child, are from the future.
Well, she had you banged to rights.
She did, as you say, have me banged to rights. What of it? I said. Who was meant to be helping you? Who brought you here? she asked. And it did scare me a little. Because she wasn't asking how I got there or where I was from, but who had brought me there. Which made me think she probably already knew the answer. Who is the ghost? I asked again. Did you kill them? She nodded. Oh, it's quite the story. Yesterday, during the Hogmanay celebrations, Her Majesty issued a charter. She founded an institute, of which I am now the director. There are a number of matters we aim to resolve, one of which I believe you can help with. But this here, at the museum, this was our first actual mission. Myself and my young assistant, Miss Jane Edwards. You are so very alike. Loud, working class, impetuous. We came here because some workmen had been attacked by something strange and wondrous. We found their bodies quite unpleasant, and we noticed that one was still breathing. I soon surmised, by clues such as his glowing eyes and, most bizarrely, glowing fingernails, that the man was possessed by something, who knows what. But he was close to death, as he had clearly been beaten by the other men before he had killed them. Obviously, it would have been safer to let him die, but this was my first opportunity to witness alien life. I couldn't just let this invader to the Empire expire.
Did she actually talk like this?
More or less. I am wise. I simply instructed Jane to approach the dying man. She did, and quite wonderfully, a glowing miasma left the man's body and took control of hers. The man expired, and what had once been Jane smiled. I asked the creature what it was, and it told me. Which is why I shot it, point blank. I gave it no mercy, no chance to... just no chance. I asked her what it was. It was foreign. It was evil. It was... Amelia was terrified. I asked again. It was a child, a naughty child, and we were just ants for it to burn. It had no reason, it had no aim, it had no goal. It just wanted to burn us, every single one of us, from our hearts to our flesh. It said that our screams were its lullaby. But, she told me, when she'd shot Jane Edwards, the possessed girl had dissipated, vanished.
I am in the walls, and the child is in me.
She became a ghost. This weapon, I don't know how it works. How should I know? She should have died and taken that creature to hell with her. And now I just want rid of them. I looked at Amelia, and I have never wanted the doctor by my side more than I had right then. I told her we needed to try and help Jane. We had to find a way to free her. She refused. She said that the girl was gone.
I am still here.
And that she had a far more important mission to fulfill. She came right up in my face, and I was ready to deck her. And she said, I know about the doctor. Where is he? The ghost told me to run. And so, yeah, I shoved the equipment I was holding right into the old woman's chest, and she fell, and I ran. I called out, because this Jane, everywhere we went, me and him, everywhere we met a Jane Edwards. A girl, a young woman, being used, being tortured, being corrupted, being killed. There's always a Jane Edwards. I called out, telling her we'd come back. He'd save her.
You must not. She will destroy him. He is my blood. The Institute exists to destroy him.
I screamed out that I couldn't just leave her. And that's when Amelia got to her feet and started shooting. She shouted that my precious friend wouldn't leave without me, so if I was dead, he wouldn't be going anywhere. She was right. He'd burned down London looking for me. She fired, and I stumbled and rolled down, and I found myself at the doors, and I fell out into the snow. And I ran. And I will never, ever not be ashamed that I ran.
You were a child. There was nothing you could have done.
I tried to tell him. We hugged in Trafalgar Square, and he told me he'd missed me and that he was sorry, and that we had places to go, and I was so scared for him. I just didn't say anything. I was a coward.
I think that's the one thing it would be impossible for you to be.
So that, without me knowing, that was the very first time I met Torchwood. And it nearly killed me. And Jane? Some people say you can still hear whispering in the museum, but only if you're there alone, at night. Your turn.
Well, thank you. I suppose I'd better give my story a title. Yes, all right. Let me tell you about the adventure of the broken soldier. I woke up in the dark. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know who I was with. I didn't know what day it was. I didn't know who I was.
Mr. Colchester, I'm shooketh.
Oh, just you wait. I knew two things. I was cold and I was naked. The shapeless lump next to me in the bed shifted. And then I heard the same 6 words I'd heard every morning for the last month. Every morning. A different voice. A young twink, an old bear, a messed up drug addict, an in-the-closet priest. Oh, yeah, an MP once.
Of course.
This morning's man's voice overlapped with all the others, and I mouthed the words along with him. I've got to get to work. 6 words. Quite ridiculous because sod off was only 2. He switched on a bedside lamp so I could see, but kept his back to me. Clearly not actually in any hurry to get to work. On the floor next to the bed were my wallet, my keys, a crushed packet of cigarettes. I collected my life and I left. I staggered out into the cold, utterly depressed city of London. My mouth tasted of dust. I lit a cigarette. And I inhaled, and the world span around me, and I started walking carefully, 1 foot in front of the other, walking like a normal human being. That's how they walk. And then I blinked, and it was night, and I was in Soho, and the Pet Shop Boys and Dusty Springfield were blasting out across the bar. And that's when I saw him again, because he'd been following me. The man with the changing face. He was sitting in a booth next to the window, and the neon lit up his face as the face itself flickered and changed. My father, 12-year-old me, Johnny Holland, and him, the one with no name, the one with the hole in his head, the one who silently begged me not to shoot. An unfamiliar hand grabbed my arse, and I turned to see the face of the next man who hours later would be telling me he had to get to work. And he grinned.
Are you all right?
I'm magnificent. But back then, no. Christmas Eve, I woke up in St. James's Park. This time, I had no wallet, no keys, and worst of all, no cigarettes. I had bruises. I knew 3 things. I was cold, I was naked, I was going to die. But I'd been to so many funerals, and I wasn't going to let that happen. I bolted back to the bedsit, shouldered the door, packed what few clothes I had. I took the money from the lecky jar, and from Victoria Station, I got a coach out of London.
Wait, 1987?
Yes? Why?
Oh, that was the year I left London. But it wasn't on a bus.
Perhaps you and me, we have more in common than we'd like to admit.
Just don't tell anyone. So, where were you heading?
Well, when I first realized I wasn't like the other boys, one man had helped me. Sergeant Benjamin Staveley, 20 years older than me. He discovered a magazine I'd been hiding in the barracks. I was terrified, certain he was going to report me or arrange for a beating. But no. One day, he said, we won't have to hide. Until then, we'll be okay. And that's what I needed again, to be told that I'd be okay. I staggered off the coach and into the village of Marpington. I walked, or was trying to walk like a human being, towards his cottage, and it was Soho neon, surrounded by colour. Purple violets, green aromatic rosemary, blue roses, the brightest magenta fuchsias. And him, Benjamin, always wearing tartan, even though he was from Streatham. He was standing there, ancient, younger than I am now, standing there and smiling a smile that told me that nothing mattered. Whatever I'd seen, whatever I'd done, whatever I'd had done to me, nothing mattered. I broke down in his arms, and he told me that the kettle was on. We sat in his kitchen, myself, Benjamin, and him. His name was Gerald. Apparently he and Benjamin had been together for nearly a year, safe outside London, safe outside of the army, safe from parents and sisters. The kettle was on, and Gerald hovered near their herbal tea collection. Benjamin was big, like Father Christmas, but Gerald was thin, weedy, emaciated. He had such thin lips. Later, that first night, I tried again to talk to Benjamin. I needed his words, his help. All of us, especially the younger generation, we need to be told. Sometimes we need to be told that we are worth something, that we exist and that we deserve to exist. That's what Benjamin had done for me in the past, and that's what desperately I needed to hear at night. I tried to talk to Benjamin as Gerald brought out supper. Cheese, crackers, quiche, pâté, wine, profiteroles, chocolate fudge cake, dessert wine, coffee, and brandy. Benjamin kept smiling at me. I tried to tell him about the man with the hole in his head. And I tried to tell him about Johnny. But Gerald poured the brandy. And really, when I thought about it, did any of it matter? The brandy drowned the man with the changing face. And we started to dance. The 3 of us danced, and we fell into the street, and we danced in the snow, and the neighbours joined us, and they danced, and the flowers around each of the houses flickered in the moonlight, like eyes watching us. Heaven a place on earth, like London. But nobody had to get to work the next morning. I woke up in the dark. Gerald's holding me, telling me everything will be so wonderful just as long as I smile. I blinked. I woke up again. But now, the sun was rising, golden light shining through the window. I went downstairs. It must have been my second, maybe my third day there, and there was Benjamin snoozing in front of his breakfast. Gerald came through from the kitchen, and he looked bigger. He was wearing a sort of smock-type shirt, and it showed off, well, he had surprisingly muscular shoulders.
Steady.
A full English breakfast was placed in front of me, and I devoured it. For months, I'd eaten very little, partly because food was an unnecessary expense, but mostly because the starved look got the boys. I feasted on bacon and eggs and beans and mushrooms and sausages and toast. And Buck's Fizz. Because apparently this was a house where we had Buck's Fizz for breakfast. And as I sat back, so full, so sated, I realized the changing faces were starting to just fade a little. Some I could barely remember at all. Gerald cleared away the dishes, and Benjamin snored, and I tried to remember. Surely I should remember. Johnny, my friend who died in my arms. I should remember him at the very least. I looked up as Gerald returned from the kitchen with a vase of fresh flowers. "Let's be naughty," he said, picking up a bottle. "Let's have another drink." On my 4th or 5th day, I asked Benjamin where he met Gerald, and he lazily laughed and said that he was an angel from heaven. And Gerald brought out more wine, and I believed. This life wasn't grey, cold like London. This was purple, green, blue, magenta. This was bliss, eternal bliss. I deserved this. What had I done? I don't know. But I deserved it. The flowers and the wine and the dancing, and Gerald with his powerful arms holding me, telling me everything was good. Everything was. "Don't you dare forget me." Heart pounding. I woke up. I was sweating. And his face, the face of Johnny, of me, of my father, of the man I shot, their faces had clawed their way back into my dreams. The moon was shining through the window, making everything so white and clean, and I needed air. I staggered out of the bed and I left the room. I couldn't go to Benjamin because Gerald would be there, and he'd have cocoa, sweet cocoa with brandy and butter, and maybe that would be nice. Just waking up in the morning with the taste of cocoa and brandy, and no. I staggered downstairs, collapsed through the front door into the snow. So cold. Across the road, there was a pub, the Green Man. A banner had been pinned above the door. Happy New Year's 1988. How long had I been there? How long had I been with Benjamin and Gerald? A whole week? As I crawled through the snow across the road, I could hear Gerald pouring wine. Gerald telling me to smile. Everything would be good. I wanted to turn back. Wanted to be happy. It didn't have to be real. But I knew something was wrong. I needed to phone someone. Anyone. I needed help. I pushed through the pub's door and I stopped. A barmaid was behind the bar, 2 old men were sat in the corner, a young family scattered around a pool table, others on seats and others on the floor. Each one of them was wearing a paper Christmas cracker hat, and each one of them was dead. Dead and smiling. Draped over them. Draped over all of them like tinsel were blue roses. It smelled so sweet. I'd seen death, but this was so inhuman. This wasn't human madness, and it wasn't that evil disease. Benjamin, Sergeant Benjamin Staveley. I had a mission. I had to rescue him. I fell out of the pub, the sweet smell of the roses choking in my mouth and nose, and I threw up into the snow. I ran back across the road into their house, straight up the stairs and into their room. Benjamin was in the bed. His face was so pale, almost the colour of the blue rose laying on his cheek. I ran over and tried to pull it away, but it was like a leech, thorns twisting into his skin. I heard something behind me, Gerald, moving towards me, and I turned without thinking, uppercut to the chin, kick to the shin. He went down, and I straddled him. I shouted at him, begging him to tell me what all of this was. He just smiled. Blue teeth. He smiled and said he was happy. Everything was good. I looked back, and I could see Benjamin was so close to death. And I started to punch Gerald again and again. But it was no good. He kept smiling. And then I figured it out. I held Gerald down, and I told him everything. I told him everything about each of the faces of the man with the changing face. I spewed out every second of trauma I'd experienced in my 30 years of life. He tried to stop me. Did I want wine? Drugs? Did I want him to be bigger? Smaller? What did I want? What did I need to be happy? Everything had to be good. But I carried on, and I heard Benjamin starting to breathe again. The blue roses started to wither away, and Gerald started to demand mercy. But I carried on, as I told him about the friends I'd lost, and the sister who had told me she was fine with it. And Johnny. I told him about Johnny. And eventually Gerald turned a different shade of blue as he stopped. Exhausted, I climbed onto the bed, and I held Benjamin, and he held me, and we fell asleep. I woke up from the dark. A young man was smiling down at us. I didn't even try to let go of Benjamin. How dare the world make me think I should? But the young man just smiled. He told me not to worry. He was from something called Torchwood, and that they were there to tidy everything up. He told me everything would be fine. For the first time in a very long time, I cried. I cried for myself, but I deserved those tears. Well,
Mr. Colchester.
Yes?
I know you and me, we don't do hugs, but...
No. No, thank you. We have 2 more stories to go. And I want to know more about Miss Amelia Chorlton.
The first director of Torchwood. Okay. Well, let's find out in The Story of the Cursed Mirror. Amelia's diary. It's quite the read. And here, December 1887.
Oh, of course. Christmas Eve, 1887.
Yep. But let's go back a couple of days. Thursday, the 20th. What?
It was fine in small doses, but you're not really going to read it all in that voice, are you?
Well, I think you're quite impertinent. Fine. Right, when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Thursday, the 22nd of December. The house at Lauriston Gardens had been unoccupied for months, until a few days prior, a policeman reported a strange green light emanating through each broken window. It was, of course, a family of sprites, those strange sparkling creatures who live in the River Thames. They occasionally rise to the surface to feed on vagrants and dogs, and we, of course, must hunt them down before they advance to the middle classes. This particular family were now tied up and shrieking as I set the house alight. Outside, watching, I could see my underlings, Christopher McGuinness and the lady known only as Echo. As ever, they clearly disapproved of my methods, and, as ever, I didn't give a fig. I left the burning house and watched as Christopher and Echo turned and walked away. "Hello," said a voice. I turned to see a young boy. He looked to be 10, maybe 12, hair as black as mine is white, and he was smiling at me. I dislike children intensely, but he was swift and avoided my kick. He giggled and ran off, and my attention was caught by something on the ground. Something reflecting the fire at Lauriston Gardens. I crouched down. It was a small mirror, simple with a silver frame and handle. I picked it up and walked away. The sound of the screaming sprites fading into the distance as I headed onto Brixton Road to hail a cab.
Well, she's continued to remain a delight.
I know. If I'm ever having a bad day, I think to myself, at least you're not Amelia Chorlton.
I almost feel sorry for her.
I had supper delivered to my room at the Grand Hotel. The stench of the burning Sprite family had given me the urge for seafood, and the hotel did a marvellous turbot à l'anglaise. After dinner, I settled into my usual position, chair facing the open window, looking out over London. It really is a city of contrasts. A place people escape to, a place people escape from. A city of broken people trying not just to survive, but to thrive. And I was their protector. In my melancholic state, I remembered the mirror. I picked it up and I stared at my reflection. I look so old these days, I hate it. I muttered something silly like, "Why must you be so old?" or words to that effect, and, to my surprise, my reflection replied. "Surely," it said, "you are aware that one day you will look older still." And then my reflection changed, showed me an even older version of myself. My hair, now snow white, was thin and rare. My face was more line than face. I looked barely alive. My eyes were faded, drool at my lips, skin stretched like parchment over bone. and there was madness in my eyes. I could tell at once that I was quite utterly mad. I fought back my disgust and remained calm. A haunted mirror. "Are you alien?" I demanded of it. "If I say yes," it replied, "would you not need to take me at once back to your Torchwood?" I nodded. The reflection continued. "Then let us say I am not alien. Then we can talk." I nodded. We spoke long into the night. My reflection asked me my greatest fear. I replied, as I had to Her Majesty just 3 days before, that my greatest fear is what is to come. What will happen to our world, to Torchwood, to the Empire, as we crash recklessly into the 20th century? My reflection smiled at me and said, "You're lying." I smiled, amused at its audacity. "Well," I asked, "what do you suppose my greatest fear is?" "On your first day as director of Torchwood, you encountered a creature of pure evil, and then you yourself committed an act of pure evil, the first of many. How many have died at your hands? Your greatest fear, Amelia Chawton, is meeting God, looking into his eyes, and facing his judgment." I thought about the eyes of Christopher McGuinness and the lady known only as Echo. My reflection was right. I had to change. But how? I looked again at my hideous reflection. "What are you?" I asked. "Your future," it replied. "If you do not change, if you do not balance your evil with good, then you will lose your sanity. And a madwoman cannot bargain with God." Friday, the 23rd of December. What a day! Christopher and Echo found me waiting in our rooms at the museum. I had made tea. This was not usual for me, but I believed it would be seen to be a jolly nice thing to do. We were going through our diaries when the museum alarm bell rang, and we realized that we were being invaded. We'd not even had breakfast. A mere few moments later, we had captured the invading brute, with Christopher's circus strongman skills, as ever, proving invaluable. Unfortunately, his headlock crushed the creature's larynx, so we were unable to discover its origins. But even so, as we locked the creature in one of our cells, I told Christopher that he had done excellent work and that Torchwood needed him. I'd never said such things before, and of course, I was only doing so now because of my reflection. In perhaps 10 or 20 years, I will face our Creator's judgment. Making tea and complimenting a dimwit surely balances the scales in my favour. We returned to our breakfast, with Echo giving us a report of an item she had purchased from one of our regular dealers in Whitechapel. It looked like a simple metal ring, but she believed it to have temporal properties. I relished investigating it further, perhaps testing it on the creature in the cell. As we tidied away our dishes, Christopher suggested taking some of the leftover kedgeree to our new prisoner, but the constant smiling and telling them both how wonderful they were was exhausting and making me hungry, so I ate it myself. Later, I wandered into the public area of the museum, and I loudly apologized to Jane Edwards' ghost. I must have looked quite silly, but I am determined to face our saviour with all of my marbles. Later still, in the evening, instead of going to the Red Tavern by myself as I usually did, I took Christopher and Echo out for supper. We went to Williams's, which does such marvellous boiled beef. This did not please Echo, who informed me that she was a vegetarian, which, I have to say, I found rather amusing. I have seen stars explode, and I have heard spiders sing, but never had I met someone who did not relish the taste of boiled beef. And, dear reader, for I assume someone is reading this, something very strange happened. I laughed at Echo's dilemma. She eventually settled for bread rolls, and when I laughed, they both too began to laugh. Christopher's laugh was so deep, booming like a cannon. Echo's more like raindrops on glass. I had invited them to dinner because I wanted to be nice, to tip those scales further. But I found that I genuinely enjoyed their company. And, dear reader, I think they enjoyed mine. When I arrived back at my rooms, I rushed to pick up the mirror and I spoke to my insane reflection. "My dear mirror," I said, "not only have I been nice, but I have enjoyed it. What larks!" "What larks, indeed," replied my reflection, drool oozing down over its hairy, hideous chin. Dear reader, it is Christmas Eve, and even the poor smile on Christmas Eve. I walked to the museum with a heart full of joy. I wished everyone I passed a happy Christmas, determined to be nice. I even thanked a lady with no teeth who spat at me. An urchin stood in my way and asked for money, and while I did not give him any, I also did not smack him. Later, as myself, Christopher, and the lady known only as Echo were busy dispatching some oversized rats in the sewers, I asked them what their plans were for Christmas. Christopher would be spending the day with that poet chap he shares lodgings with. Neither of them are married, which is sad, but I believe they are good friends. Echo told us that she would be returning to her family in Wiltshire. She is one of 12 daughters, I believe. It is quite remarkable. They asked me what my plans were. Reader, I had none. Then, as a final act of kindness, I allowed them to leave work at 3 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. I wished them a very Merry Christmas as they left me. Back in my rooms, I was idly picking rat blood out from under my fingernails, and I looked out at London, proud of my generosity as its protector. I picked up the mirror. My mad reflection grinning out at me, revealing so many yellow teeth. I asked it, "How am I doing?" I had committed act after act of kindness. Why, I had even given a spider to my maid to take outside, rather than ending its life. Admittedly, the poor girl did cry rather a lot, but I tried, and that is the main thing. My reflection stopped smiling, and suddenly looked sad, weak even. I asked it what was wrong, and it replied, saying how it was such a shame that this new good Amelia Chawton would be spending Christmas alone. I deserved love and warmth and presents, hopefully many presents. And then my reflection said 2 words: your sister. Dear Agatha lives in Plymouth, and while she is blessed with beauty, of which I have never been jealous, she is not blessed with wit or intelligence. We have not spoken in over 20 years, after an unfortunate incident between myself and her husband. But it is Christmas, a time for forgiveness and reconciliation, and I do forgive her for taking him from me, the only man who ever told me I was beautiful. My reflection laughed and said that sadly that was no longer the case. Arthur certainly would not find me attractive now, unless... I returned quickly to Torchwood headquarters with a plan. You see, the mirror was showing me my future. But what if, instead, I could look like the past? The ring with temporal qualities in our vaults. Could I discover how to use it? But also, why would I use it? I'm good and kind. I'm fighting for my soul. But would it be so awful if Arthur noticed me? That's all. Just noticed me. I looked down at the ring. The creature with the crushed larynx watched me from its cell. My reflection in the mirror watched me. I could hear the never-ending breath of Jane Edwards.
Always silent.
And as I started to place the ring on my finger, Christopher and the lady known only as Echo came running into the vaults. Apparently my behaviour those last couple of days had been suspicious. They had not returned home for Christmas, but rather had been following me. Using alien artifacts ourselves is, of course, strictly forbidden, but damn them! If it is alien, it is ours. Am I not Torchwood? Did I not deserve this? Christopher and Echo had no forgiveness in their eyes. Echo raised a pistol and told me I had to go with them to the palace. I could suddenly see Her Majesty's eyes staring at me, so full of disappointment. I could not bear it. I would not. I ran to the cell and released the creature, and it launched itself at Christopher, jaws and claws, and... As Christopher's body fell to the ground, the creature swiped an arm out at Echo, and she too was easily dispatched. The horror of it all. Oh, the horror! I closed my eyes and waited for the creature from hell to give me the release of death. And then I opened my eyes. It had died. Possibly because I had not given it food or water since its arrest, who can say? I was alone. I did not know how or why this had happened. Was it the boy? Was he responsible? Was it the cursed spirit of Jane Edwards? Was she responsible? As I lay here, on the cold ground, I asked the mirror, why? Who can have done this to me? My reflection was smiling. It was now young and beautiful. Because I needed to give you hope. It is only when you have hope that the despair is truly felt. With a roar, I flung the mirror across the room, and it smashed into 1,000,000 pieces. I was alone. It was dark. It was cold. After Christmas, Her Majesty would send soldiers, I was sure, to find out what has happened to her precious Torchwood. I was alone. It was dark. I could hear, distant from outside, people singing Christmas carols. I have always detested Christmas carols. It is a year later. I reside in my cell in the tower. Her Majesty let me keep my diary. But as I write this, I fear, I sense the shadows encroaching. I know that soon I shall be meeting the Creator, and I suspect it is a meeting that will not go well. But part of me will remain here on Earth, through my words, my thoughts, through this diary. I do hope you've enjoyed reading this, Dorothy. But the voice you were doing isn't right, and that's not nice. Not nice at all.
Give me that.
Thank you. Yeah, that wasn't there earlier. And She was right. She died that night.
I wonder what made her like that. You know? What a sad creature.
Although, like you said, as we get older, we want someone to tell us what to do. That's what she got.
Yes, but not a haunted mirror, Dorothy.
Right, chuck me a carrot. It's your turn.
I present...
What? Why have you stopped?
I'm waiting for you to finish.
Oh, okay. Done. Go for it.
I present The Strange Affair of the Lady in Green. Why do you think we tell ghost stories at Christmas?
Is it something to do with the winter solstice? I've an assistant who goes to Stonehenge every year. Lots of beads.
Well done. The winter solstice is the longest night of the year. Back in the day, it was believed to be the time when the barrier between the living and the dead was at its thinnest. But also, at Christmas, people are thinking about life and death, rebirth, regrets, the past remembered. The boy's name is Tim. He's popular on Twitter. Well, thirsty Twitter. He's one of those people who posts "forgot my keys, such a klutz" with a shirtless picture. And so this is what 30 looks like with a shirtless picture. And "stop the genocide" in insert country name here.
With a shirtless picture.
Exactly. And it's fine. He just wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be seen, don't they? You want to be seen, don't you? So, Tim, he's gorgeous, and he knows it. One day, he posts a selfie, and he's outside the Science Museum, and he's captioned it, "Where the hot geeks at?" But obviously, it's a close-up of his face, so he could be anywhere. And people are liking it and bookmarking it. And then another user, let's call him Jerry, he replies asking, "Is that your girlfriend?" And Tim, because Jerry also posts shirtless selfies, replies, "What do you mean, lol?" And Jerry says, "The girl behind you." And Tim replies, "There's no girl behind me. Also, you wouldn't see her because I'm 6'3". And Jerry replies, "Tall boy, lol." And they carry on. But then a woman called Katie also replies, and she says, "No, he's right. Look just behind your arm." And before Tim can even mention his lovely biceps, the tweet goes viral. Because there, clearly peeping out from behind his arm, is a woman. You can barely see her. Is that a green dress? Red hair, and the tiniest section of her face, a single eye, staring out. Wow, spooky, tweet many people. Tim loves what it does for his follower count, and so he posts even more selfies. Here he is in the gym. Here he is at his aunt's funeral. Here he is with his identical pals in a beer garden. Here he is in a... Someone tweets back at him, "She's there again." And she is. Just behind him, in the beer garden. Impossibly close to him. Standing so close, he should feel her breath. Soon, the lady in green can be seen in all of Tim's selfies, right up until the day he dies. They find him at home. Heart attack. He sent one final tweet. "She's found me." There's a woman, and she's in a bookshop on Cromwell Road. She's much older than Tim. She's holding up a book she thinks either should be cancelled or thinks shouldn't be cancelled. She doesn't know Tim. She doesn't look at thirsty Twitter. So, at first, she doesn't understand why her selfie goes viral. She's not heard of the lady in green. The one peeking out over her shoulder. The one who starts appearing in all of her selfies. That single eye staring out, desperate to be seen.
So, for anyone listening, what happened next, Mr. Colchester?
Social media explodes. Chatter online, chatter in the pubs, WhatsApp groups a go-go. Everyone's a detective. Is it a viral media campaign? Is a new limited TV series about to drop? Or could it be real? Could this be a real-life modern ghost story? Someone works something out. Nobody can remember who does it first, but someone does. The lady in green only appears in selfies. She only appears in photos people are taking of themselves. The woman from the bookshop knows that, so she stops taking selfies. But it's too late. The final tweet. She found me. Heart attack. Same look of terror on her face.
So, surely, people just stopped taking selfies?
You'd think so. But people did what people do. Across London, in the museums and parks, in the bars of Soho and the cafes of Streatham, in Brixton Market, outside the Grand Hotel, people started to take more and more selfies. People were desperate to be a part of it, desperate to see the lady in green for themselves. Is that her in the background of my picture? Can you see her? People even started dressing up as her at parties. And she's there. She's appearing in so many selfies and people are scared. But they keep doing it? Why do they want to be scared? Why do we want to be scared?
Because we want to feel something? Why did I get into fights when I was a kid? Why did you wake up with so many strangers?
Because we want to feel something. It's Christmas Eve. It's not quite the winter solstice, but it's close enough.
You think it's time?
I think it's time, Miss McShane. It's time to take a selfie.
What about anyone listening at home?
Now, who would be listening to us?
Ghosts? Or the place might be bugged.
Well, yes. Anyone listening, please feel free to take a selfie on the count of 3. Let's see if we can summon the lady in green. Right. Slide to open.
Slide to open. Are you doing the countdown?
I am. Lady in green, if you can hear us, we're ready. 1, 2, 3. She could be standing so close behind your shoulder. And yet you can't hear her breathing. Are you all right, Miss McShane?
Yeah? Can you see her? Is she behind me?
No. Is she behind me?
No.
Well, she must be behind someone. There, by the fire, the lady in green.
Jane Edwards. She's unconscious.
But she's alive. Miss McShane?
believe it.
Happy Christmas, Dorothy.
I left her. I ran and I left her.
And now she's back.
Okay. So tell me again, how did you do it?
There are two possible explanations. Number one, you discovered the story going viral. You realized that the lady in green was Jane. You came to me. I found the gun Amelia used. I brought it here to the Natural History Museum, reversed the settings, activated a series of tachyon fields around the museum, which resonated with Jane's remaining atoms, causing them to reform and regenerate, which effectively caused her body to restore.
Or
the spirit of Christmas. Two people. Two friends. We came here, we shared stories, we thought about the past, the present, the future. We talked about how there's always hope, no matter how dark it is. And that hope, that gave Jane hope. That released her from the darkness.
thank you, St. John. Okay, you've got a plane to catch, so we better get her back to mine. Good job I've plenty of food in.
In the new year, we'll see if she still wants to work for Torchwood.
Are you okay, though, about seeing your sister?
I actually think I am.
Before we go...
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm hugging you. I am so sorry for what you went through.
Oh, I'm okay. And you're okay. Right. Let's carry her out to the car.
I just hope she's awake in time for the Muppets.
Indeed. Right. 1, 2, 3, lift!
Wait, what about Amelia's gun?
Oh, that? Torchwood lost it years ago. You have been listening to Torchwood. Reflect, written by Joseph Lidster. Mr. Colchester was played by Paul Clayton, Dorothy McShane, Sophie Aldred, and Jane was Lisa Bowerman. Other parts played by members of the cast. Music, Blair Mowat. Sound design and post-production, Maddie Searle. Director, Lisa Bowerman. Script editor and producer, James Goss. The executive producers were Nicholas Briggs and Jason Hay-Gallery.
I'm Joe Lidster, and I am playing the part of writer.
Hello, I'm Paul Clayton, and I play Mr. Colchester.
Hello, I'm Sophie Aldred, and I am playing the part of Ms. McShane, Dorothy, Ace, and another person as well in this.
I think it's the same reason we go on enormous roller coasters, isn't it? That we want to go up and plummet down and to check that everything's still working inside. You know, fear is an emotion that manifests itself in you, whether it's shaking, whether it's sweating, whether it's that pit of the stomach. It's the same question that, and I don't know whether Sophie is, that I feel every time I'm about to step on stage. I ask myself, why am I doing this? Why am I so terrified? Because supposedly I love this, but I've put myself in this situation. And I think that's what we do. We're testing ourselves. It's almost to check that we're still there and working. And, you know, love is a feeling, fear. They're all a vital part of making us the people we are.
It's a kind of shared experience as well. The shared experience of storytelling, but also in being frightened together, or that kind of communal thing. It's a bit like, say, watching a horror movie. I'm saying all this, and actually I hate ghost stories and horror movies and things like that because I'm a wuss. But I also think that it's very true what you wrote, Joe, in this script, to feel something.
I think that's a big part of it is, and like you say about roller coasters, is so much of life is emails and just your phone beeping at you and what's this now, and I think there's just something about just remembering that there's the primal forces is a bit much, but that there is actually something other than day-to-day sort of drudgery. I think it's quite nice. I think with ghost stories in particular, there is something nice about thinking there is more than we understand, because science has taught us everything. And I remember having an argument with a friend once because he got very angry because I said, I think I believe in ghosts, or I believe that there's more out there. And he got very angry because science. And I was like, but don't you think it's quite sad not to imagine that there's more out there than we know about? Even if there's a scientific explanation for something we've yet to discover, there's something exciting to think that there is more going on than we necessarily know about. But I think there's just this thing we've created where it's a time where we reflect on the past, and I think reflecting on the past ties into ghosts and spirits and what they can represent.
Yes, it's dark and it's cold and you gather together. Yeah, we have this thing as a family where we get together on New Year's Eve and we go over what we did last year and what we want to do for next year. We write it all down, So I think it's that sort of, it lends itself to gathering together in some way. Maybe I'll add a ghost story this year.